It's almost been a year since SNK first announced a new and upcoming Fatal Fury game. It's been over 20 years since the last Fatal Fury game, Garo Mark of the Wolves. Considering the fact that the series had laid dormant for that long, and Garo still being considered some of SNK's finest work even today, it almost seemed like Fatal Fury was gonna basically end on quite a high note. Additionally, most of the characters from the series have been thriving in something of a new life in the King of Fighters series. Some people cite SNK director Yasuki Oda's widely documented desire to produce a new Garo game, something he had petitioned for upon his 2014 return to SNK, as a sign that the game was an inevitability. Thus, this announcement wasn't a surprise. Need I remind these people that Oda-san is a director, not SNK's president. He doesn't solely have the power to greenlight a game. The most he could probably do was influence the higher-ups. Now, I imagine this was a Herculean task for Oda-san, seeing how out of touch some higher-ups can be. Oda-san actually stated that most of the current higher-ups had joined SNK during the Playmore years, thus they really didn't know about older series such as Art of Fighting and, yep, even Fatal Fury. Knowing that and seeing he finally got them to budge after 8 years is commendable. Oda-san was much more fortunate than Yoshinori Ono, who wanted to bring back Darkstalkers, and yeah, we all know what happened there. Further proof that just because you have a burning desire to do something doesn't necessarily mean it's guaranteed to happen. Not to say it's all Ono-san's fault, it just seems that the stars didn't align for him. So yeah, the new and upcoming Garo game has furiously been in development for almost a year. What do we know about the game so far? Not really a lot, but nevertheless a nice chunk of interesting info. Let's talk about it. The platforms for the up-and-coming untitled Fatal Fury game have not been announced yet, but what has been confirmed is that the game will run on the Unreal Engine. Back in February of last year, alongside Samsho and KOF 15, SNK mentioned an unnamed title would also run on Unreal Engine. If this interview with Unreal Engine News is anything to go by, it seems that it'll be Unreal Engine 4 to be exact, as there's a question in the same interview that mentions the release of Unreal Engine 5 looming. Unreal Engine 4 currently supports a variety of platforms, including some 8th and 9th gen consoles. I predict that the upcoming Fatal Fury game will be on the same platforms as KOF 15, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Windows. Unless this game is set to be released in the year 2025 and beyond, I don't think PS4 players will be left behind. I really hope they aren't left behind at all, but we know how it can be at times. Even with fighting games released this year, it's still kind of a toss-up. Street Fighter 6 got a PS4 release, while the upcoming Mortal Kombat 1 does not. Speaking with VGC, Oda-san stated that the new Fatal Fury game would have a 3D design and art style that is different from anything SNK has done before. So, basically implying that it will look different from KOF 15 and Samsho? I don't have really much to say about this aside from I'm incredibly curious as to what this game is going to look like. We've seemingly gotten a few character confirmations already. So far, the only official artwork we've gotten for this new Fatal Fury game are these 2 teaser posters. Each image portrays 3 characters. The first image, which was revealed at EVO 2022, features Rock Howard, Kane R. Heinlein, and Billy Khan. The second image, which was revealed at EVO Japan 2023, features Terry Bogard, Andy Bogard, and Joe Higashi. I think it's an extra safe bet that these 6 characters are a lock for this game. When asked by Twinfinite about the characters on the roster, Oda-san gave the safest answer ever. It went a little something like this. Guess what, guys? Terry Bogard is in the game. Surprise. Who would have thought? I would have never guessed. On the other hand, to cut the man a bit of slack, Oda-san has hinted at some interesting possibilities concerning the characters in this game. When asked about the new characters and other parts that were set for the cancelled Garo 2, Oda-san didn't totally rule out the inclusion of any elements from the previous game being in this game. He claimed that SNK is considering things such as the overall scope and story. It's also worth noting that he confirmed this game will not be called Garo 2, though it is still a sequel to Garo Mark of the Wolves. At this point in the series' history, Fatal Fury had heavily leaned into its new generation with only one returning character on the playable roster. Among the new characters, you had those that are descended from and/or disciples of established characters. The setting of the game is in Second Southtown, which isn't too far removed from the original Southtown. This is all to say that knowing this information and looking at the characters that have basically been revealed, it's clear as day that the Golden Age classic characters will have more of a presence in this game compared to Mark of the Wolves. Of the 6 we've been shown so far, 4 of them were there when Fatal Fury was born. With Joe Higashi seemingly being confirmed, I wonder what will become of his apprentice, Kuan. I do wonder how many of the scrapped Garo 2 characters will make it into the upcoming game. Aside from Kuan, I especially hope this guy makes it into the game. Finally, in regards to characters, Oda-san also didn't rule out the possibility of guest characters in this game. Fatal Fury is actually one of the earliest fighting game franchises to ever include guest characters. The first instance of this occurred in Fatal Fury Special with the appearance of Art of Fighting's Ryo Sakazaki, which was one of several events that inspired the creation of the King of Fighters series. Speaking of KOF, in the Game Boy version of Real Bout Fatal Fury Special, Iori Yagami would make a guest appearance. Of course, it's worth noting that both of these are first-party guest characters. The question proposed by VGC to Oda-san just mentions, quote, bringing fighters from other fighting game series, which could apply to first and third-party characters. SNK has included third-party guest characters in their fighting games from Makoto Mizuguchi and KOF Maximum Impact Regulation A to the Warden, Gongsun Lee, and Baiken in Samurai Shodown. I think the chances of Fatal Fury getting its first third-party guest character in this upcoming installment are very much there, but not very large. As the old saying goes, only time will tell. There wasn't really much that I could garner about the gameplay. Oda-san did confirm that this game will be more like the original Fatal Fury games. Personally, I always assumed this game would just get a modified version of Mark of the Wolves' gameplay. I think the tactical offensive position and just defense systems in that game were pretty cool and unique. Why not bring them back? I'd be slightly surprised if plane switching made a comeback in this game. I was gonna say that I thought this type of mechanic was kinda passé, but I just remembered the upcoming fighting game Diesel Legacy is utilizing it. Sure, some people will dismiss this game as irrelevant because it's an indie fighting game. Point is, a newer fighting game is utilizing said mechanic, so it's not really an Still, I'd be surprised if plane switching returned to the new Fatal Fury. Well, here we are. The element of this game that I am furiously curious about. One of the earliest bits of info about the upcoming Fatal Fury is that the game will have a big focus on the single player experience. Now, if I can get on my soapbox for just a minute, in this regard, I'm glad that SNK is getting with the times. I love KOF 15 and Samurai Shodown. Both are decent, good games with glaring problems that kept them from being excellent. And one of those problems is the lack of unique single-player content. Both games have the basic single-player modes that fighting games have had for decades. With games like Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising and now Street Fighter VI going the extra mile with their single-player content, and said content receiving a generally favorable reception, the old way of single-player content in fighting games isn't gonna really fly anymore. I'm not saying arcade, survival, time attack, and so on are passé and they need to be gone forever. What I'm saying is, the devs are gonna have to do more than that now. Compared to the competitive player base, the casual player base has a much more diverse mentality in terms of what they want in fighting games. Most competitive players just want good character balance and a functioning online experience with good netcode and matchmaking. The casual audience is generally more of a mixed bag. Whether you want to believe it or not, there are casual players out there that share the same desire as competitive players to have a good online experience. Sure, most casuals are not going to be playing about 500,000 ranked matches, but they want a good online experience to play with their friends. And of course, you have those casuals who are content with playing the typical offline fighting game modes over and over and over again. But then you also have those casuals who will quickly find playing these same modes boring after a while and eventually will regret dropping a good bit of money on the game and may be hesitant to purchase any future DLC. This is where unique single-player content comes in. It can increase a fighting game's variety and replayability for a section of the audience that isn't really fixated on playing a bunch of matches or ranking up in competitive modes. Hell, even competitive players can enjoy some offline single-player content outside of the versus mode. I enjoy Street Fighter 6's World Tour mode quite a lot. And of course, there's my all-time favorite unique offline mode in a fighting game, Chess Combat. I would do laps around my entire neighborhood if that makes a comeback at MK1. Getting back to the subject at hand, and speaking of World Tour mode, I actually reposted this tweet from Raito ADV talking about how he wished KOF 15 got the lore treatment that Street Fighter 6 got. Whereas with World Tour mode, you could freely explore key places and interact with characters, KOF 15 just had the same couple of scenes played throughout key points in arcade mode. The only time you'd have a different experience is playing through arcade mode with one of the story's 4 central teams, and really all you'd get is a couple of extra scenes. The only replayability after that was just playing the teams to unlock stuff for DJ Station and getting those special edit team endings. I actually agreed with Raito, and similar to him, someone came along and commented something along the lines of, well, KOF 15 had all the team stories and character interviews on a website. Okay, let's take another look at this statement. Considering everything we've gone over in this segment thus far, what do we see on the screen that's an issue here? What do we see on the screen that's an issue here? Look, I like the KOF 15 website. SNK did a great job with it. However, since so many fans claim to be concerned about how KOF 15 will compete against other fighting games on the market currently, it's not a good look when the competition story presentation is rather atypical to the fighting game genre and being well received by fans. One thing that many fans claim SNK fighting games have over other fighting games is the story. While I mostly agree with that, it doesn't matter how rich the story is when the presentation is poor. It's almost like being a performance poet who excels at putting words together but lacks charisma in a medium that requires you to capture and keep the crowd invested in what you're saying. If you're still not convinced, since we're talking about competition, Street Fighter 6 also has a website with character profiles and a prequel comic that provides info about its characters and the story. That didn't stop Capcom from still implementing something like World Tour mode into the game. SNK fighting game stories are way too rich to keep on doing the same song and dance with the single player content. It's time to step it up. Now, as I step off of the soapbox, I cannot wait to see what type of single player content they have in store for this game. I've seen people rolling their eyes at the idea of Fatal Fury getting their own World Tour mode, to which I say, why not? I'd play it. Capcom doesn't own the rights to the open world genre. SNK can put their own unique spin on it. I imagine that SNK would also want to draw in a new generation who might not be familiar with Fatal Fury. So there's plenty they could put in these modes to help catch some people up with the amazing story. I could also imagine them implementing a beat-em-up mode of sorts in this game, and before anyone mentions KOF All-Star, need I remind you, everyone doesn't play mobile games. Once again, I am happy that they are looking to step it up, and I am eager to see what they come up with. So, with all that being said, I want to wrap this up with a bit of a expectation versus reality segment. What do I hope to see at EVO 2023 in regards to the new Fatal Fury game? First, I hope to see some gameplay footage, and maybe by ways of that we get like another character reveal, or maybe something like an actual teaser trailer. I'm hoping that they have something to show since this has been in development for almost a year. I am very interested to see how this game is going to look stylistically different from KOF 15 and Samurai Showdown. I cannot wait to see what this looks like. I also hope we get some details about the single player content, maybe some gameplay of that, because again, this is one of the most interesting details about this game. It's something a little bit different. I hope they reveal something about that. And also, reveal the game's official name. I'm sure they have one by now. They have to. At the same time, to cut them some slack, it could differ from company to company. Last time I checked, I thought I saw something that said Project L is not really the official name of it, that is just a code name. Also, I think Guilty Gear Strive's official name wasn't revealed until some months after it had been first revealed at EVO, so yeah, it can vary from company to company. But still, I hope we at least get a name. Those are my expectations, but what do I expect the reality to be? Well, amongst these things here that I hoped for, if one of them is gonna come true, I'll be banking on a reveal of the game's official name. That seems the most plausible thing that will definitely happen at EVO. I do not think we're gonna get an actual teaser trailer, and by that I mean something like a cinematic or anything showing some gameplay. I don't think we're getting that at EVO. What I think we're gonna get is another teaser poster. And believe me, the artwork is awesome. Tonko has been killing it, but I'm pretty sure some people are like, come on, give me some gameplay or something, give me an in-game model, give me something, come on. But yeah, I think they're gonna pull that on us, and now that I think about it, if we consider the characters that have been revealed to us by ways of these teaser posters, there haven't been any female characters shown. I'm willing to bet that B. Jenny, Hotaru Futaba, and Mai are all locks for this game. Again, like I said earlier in the section about characters, old school characters are going to have more of a presence in this game compared to the original Garo. And Mai is basically Fatal Fury's first fighting lady. She's going to be there. Not to mention Andy's there too. And now that I think about it, Hokuto Maru is probably a lock for this as well. Should I do a roster prediction for this? Finally, in regards to the single player content, I think we'll get some info about it, like more than what we have now, but it won't be a lot. Which, you know what? I'll be fine with that. Being on the receiving end of all this teasing is going to be excruciating, but hey, in a very crazy context, I think it'll be worth it. But yeah, that's all I got to say for this one. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you hyped for the new Fatal Fury? What do you think we'll get for this game in terms of announcements at EVO 2023? Let me know what you think in the comments, and until next time, I am Chris Lotus, signing off. You all take care of yourselves, be safe out there, be cool to each other, and stay cool by staying hydrated this summer. See ya.